So this comment here wasn't actually directed at me. This is a part of a conversation between a few men, have a little back and forth, difference of opinion. It reads, of course I'm saying a lot of that money will be invested, but you've got to treat yourself after a couple of years of working hard. Now the reason why I have to duck down and that is because the comment's so large, it's kind of just above my head, and obviously when I get to upload the video I get to make the comment a lot smaller than where it is. So right now the comment is like this big. I'll be able to shrink it down. So if you see me ducking down and reading this, because it's in front of my face. So anyway, man's talking about treat yourself and that. Now obviously it wasn't directed at me, a man's not talking to me, but let's just pretend the person's speaking to me. I treat myself. Do you know what the best treat is? The best treat of all isn't being able to go to Jamaica or, you know, drive a Mercedes or whatever you can think of in that. The best treat of all is peace of mind. Living comfortably, yeah? Knowing and looking in your bank account, knowing that there's bare money there, and you know what I'm saying, at any point in time you could go on that holiday, you could lease that Mercedes if you wanted to, you could buy a Moncler or whatever nonsense and that LV, Dior trainers and that. That's the best peace of mind. Yeah, that's the best treat, peace of mind. The best treat of all is being able to go to a restaurant at any moment, any time, and be able to buy whatever you want on that menu. It was madness. I remember I took my girl up to this place and it was some dessert parlor thing, you know, like creams and maybe like Tinseltown and that. They do waffles, whatever. And I remember I took my girl there on one particular Saturday. Let's say the last Saturday of the weekend, or of the month. Let's say 2 weeks prior to that, she went up there with one of her girls, innit? When I took her there, she was like, wow, the place is really packed. I'm like, yeah, cool. We sat down and she was like, I'm surprised it's really packed. Now, when she went there 2 weeks prior, she went there at a similar time, between 6 and 8 o'clock in the Saturday evening. She kept on talking about it, innit? I'm like, why is it so, like, what's the issue? Not saying it was an issue, innit, but why is it so significant that you need to talk about it so much, innit? And then she clocked, she was like, I reckon the reason why it's so packed now, and it wasn't 2 weeks ago, is because people didn't have no damn money. It's the last Saturday of the week, of the month. So yesterday, which was the day before, obviously Friday, that was the last Friday of the month. That's when everyone gets paid. The reason why people are here now and able to sit in a restaurant and spend money and that is because they got paid. A couple of weeks ago, no one had no damn money. I'm like, is that a real thing? People are actually, like, their finances are so fucked. They can't afford to go out on the second Friday of the month. Yeah? Or the first Friday of the month or whatever, third Friday of the month. They can only go out on the last Friday of the month because they get paid. Because they got paid. I'm thinking to myself, nah, this is why I stay frugal. This is why I stay on top of my finances and that. So I don't need to worry about going to this restaurant or going to that restaurant and that. I know some, I went to their yard and their sister lives in another country. The sister came over back to the UK, and this person's yard I was at, they were saying, fuck's sake, man, like, I'm gonna have to tell my sister, like, I can't afford to keep going out to these restaurants and that, because her sister's on holiday mode. She's over in the UK for 2 weeks. Her sister wants to go to a new restaurant every other day, and the one that's in the UK, the one that lives here, is saying that I can't afford. I might have to tell her, yo, we're gonna have to slow down on this restaurant thing. You're gonna have to come over for some food and that, because I can't afford to be going to these restaurants and spending this money and that. The person hasn't got on top of their finances. Don't get it twisted though. That doesn't mean that you should be spending £50 on a restaurant every other day and them things there and that. But if I was put in that position, I could afford it. I just wouldn't do it. This person is telling their sister that they can't do it, not because they don't want to, because they can't afford to. Because you know what certain people are like, innit? Certain people just love to spend money and that. So I'm not saying, look, if you don't want to treat yourself and that. But the best treat of all is peace of mind. I get to go in my house and sit in a warm and comfortable house. There are some people right now. I went to a man's house today, blood. I went upstairs and I touched the radiator and that because I noticed it was kind of cold in the house. Stone cold. Yeah? There's certain people right now, they do not put the heating on because they cannot afford it. If they could afford it, they would have the heating on. And why are they in this position? Why are you an old man in the UK that cannot afford to heat his house? Because you ain't put the fucking work in. You did not live frugal. You did not make sacrifice. You was living every day as it comes. You was in the pub on a Friday night and a Saturday night, drinking, enjoying yourself and that, treating yourself when you haven't put in the work for it. And now you're making up for it. At some point in your life, you're gonna have a hard life. You're better off having a hard life when you're young, fit and energetic. All my days, a cat is about to get run over. Lucky. when you've got the strength and the energy and that, rather than when you're an old person. So at some point in your life is going to be hard and difficult. I would rather have a hard and difficult life throughout my youth than when I'm an old elderly person. And yeah, all of these people that you see struggling who are of age, because they ain't putting the damn work. They ain't putting the work, man. So the best treat of all is peace of mind. The best treat of all is being able to sit in a warm house. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about turning on that fan heater and, you know what I'm saying, or turning on that heating and that. My girl, she could sit in my house all day long with the heating on. No problem. Obviously, the other day, she was sitting in the dining room. That's where the table is and that's where she works from. And it was warm in the house. The heating was on and the sun was shining through the patio doors, and it's kind of like a greenhouse. When the sun is shining through the patio doors and that, it will make the inside of the house hot. Yeah. So I was like, why you got the heating? Why you got the fan heater on and the room is already warm, isn't it? And she was like, what do you call it? She's trying to dry her hair, innit? Yeah. So I was like, alright, cool. I was like, listen, yeah, in 10 minutes, yeah, turn off the fan heater and that if you don't need it on. But obviously, feel free to leave it on and that, because I'm not having my woman sit in my house scared to put their heating on. Nah, I would feel like a loser if my woman is sitting in my house and she's afraid to turn on the heating and that, yeah, because I can't afford to heat the fucking house. Yeah, don't get it twisted. We ain't whacking up the heating till 30 degrees and leaving that on constant all day long. Let's not get this thing twisted. Yeah, it's not because man's being a cheap ass and that. Man don't want to spend the money. I could pay a £50 parking ticket every day, but that doesn't mean I want to fucking spend the money. Yeah. So anyway, man, that's it, man. Like I said, the best treat of all is peace of mind. Yeah, that is priceless. That's better than any fucking waffle from Creams. That's better than any fucking... Well, I'm going down to Edmonton in a couple of hours' time. I'm going to put £20 in my motorbike and blow it on the M25 within an hour and a half and not give a shit, blood. Certain people, they would never dream of putting £20 petrol in their motorbike or their car and go on blowing it on the motorway and that, because they can't afford it. The other day, I must have... You know, like I was icy on the cars and that. Man put the engine on to obviously warm up the car. I must have left it for like an hour. I forgot. Some people would have been like, fuck, I've lost out all that petrol. I spent all this money on petrol. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I'll sit in my car for an hour idling. Yeah? Doing my paperwork and that. I don't give a shit. This is what happens when you live frugal and you make money and that, and you got multiple income coming in, multiple income streams coming in and that. You don't have to worry about bills and that. That doesn't mean you're going to be a fool and spend money and waste money though. But yeah, peace of mind is the best treat of all.